it seems less the party of working people than it ever has been.
I was taken aback by just how negative a reaction the Democratic Party got among working class people that, again, it's supposed to be fighting for. And I think this is a fundamental problem that I've been essentially begging the Democratic Party to try and get its arms around or make progress on. I spent months in Iowa and Ohio to a lesser extent, and these are states where Democrats were very competitive recently.
Oh, yeah.
And now they are much, much less competitive. And it's in large part because of what I described in that clip, where people don't associate the Democratic Party with real economic solutions that are going to make your life better. It's more around various cultural issues that aren't as core to people's way of life, in my opinion.
So I'm 52, so I've seen all of this change, and I've never been a Democrat, and I've always criticized them, probably in some ways unfairly looking back on it. My views have changed dramatically. But when I think of the Democratic Party in the fall of 2021, I think of a party that is run by and for a small group of affluent, unmarried, childless, white liberals in the city who don't have economic concerns, so they don't talk about economics, who are totally narcissistic, who only want to talk about themselves, i.e. their identities, and whatever, sexual interest they have. Like, completely disconnected from the concerns of anybody. And it's this group, young, affluent, white liberals in Williamsburg. That's my mental picture. There's no group I personally dislike more, I'll just be honest with you. But it does seem like their concerns have a disproportionate effect on the policies of the party.
It's one reason I enjoyed spending time in Iowa and Ohio and want to orient the Democratic Party toward the problems in those environments, because the problems you'll hear in those towns are very real and very different, around farmers committing suicide, and towns that are drying up. And that's where I think our energies and attention should be. I think it's one drawback of the media-driven nature of our narratives today is one, and the media tends to be, as you know, centered in particular areas and locations.
Yes, but I've noticed that.
but it's also a relative weakness over the fact that we have these two supposedly big tent parties. They're supposed to encapsulate all of these different people and points of view, and then certain points of view just end up being much louder, really more because of, again, geography and mechanics than anything else. If you're someone who's plugged into the media networks and have very powerful social media tools in certain parts of the country, you're just going to have more of a megaphone.
That's the second time you've mentioned social media as a driver of our political culture.
Yep.
So tell, I mean, again, this is a world that you're familiar with. You were in tech. How do you think social media affect our political conversation?
It's terrible, genuinely. And one of the things that studies have shown is that negative and even untrue information spreads 6 times more powerfully and quickly on social media than fact. Fact is boring, and argument and invective are intoxicating. And so you have a lot of people who then respond to those incentives and end up trying to make themselves more popular by attacking other people. There's a constant desire to tear other folks down. So there's this constant churn on social media that doesn't really lead any place terribly productive, and makes people more polarized, more negative, less solutions oriented.